Thank you for joining me for another cup. Limiting beliefs. So I talked in the main message about limiting beliefs, what they are, how they impact us, and the things we can do to rid ourselves of them or to transcend them. The truth is that limiting beliefs are something that requires some introspection, some self-awareness. And we're not always ready to do that. The truth is, it takes a lot of courage to face our own limiting beliefs. But let me give you a little bit of an out, a get-out-of-jail-free card. Most of your limiting beliefs, and most of them that you may not even be aware of, you didn't create. Yes, you are responsible for them because they're part of you, but you didn't create them. An awful lot of limiting beliefs were created in our childhood, in our upbringing, as we learned where we were in the world and what the world meant to us. And most of the time, for example, when you're young, when you're a teenager, you take a lot of cues from other people about what the world means. We become much more self-aware as we grow older because we experience things firsthand. But until then, a lot of the judgments we make about ourselves and our place in the world and what the world is come from other people's experiences, our parents, our friends, and anyone that had influence on us in the early part of our life. So when you come across a limiting belief, a lot of the time we have to deal with guilt or shame about that very thing. Maybe there's trauma in our past that created this limiting belief, and we have to face that. But truly, chances are you didn't actually create it. Your mind adapted to it or adopted it as a coping mechanism. And I don't want to get too deep into the psychology of this, but there's plenty of documentation and research showing that these limiting beliefs were instilled before we even knew who we were. So take solace in the fact that everybody has these. And to the extent that you have self-awareness about these limiting beliefs and you have the courage then to face them, that's truly significant work and worthwhile, no matter where you are in your life or work journey. Now, the phrase that's used in psychology for this type of work is called shadow work, because most of these beliefs operate in the subconscious and or the shadow of who we believe we are. Sometimes we tuck them away when we see them because we don't want to face them. They sit in the shadows, but they have an influence. Again, courage and understanding how these were instilled should help in terms of what exactly they are, where they came from, and sometimes healing trauma of the past leads to a lot of shadow work and a lot of uncovering these limiting beliefs. Now, by no means do I think you should charge in full bore and tackle these things. Sometimes if there is trauma involved, you need some help, maybe some professional help to dig in and find out why these things are still with you. But the simpler things, in fact, the things that typically affect our work, are just things that were created in past jobs and past experiences, and maybe even we don't know where it came from, but we carry this belief with us for some reason. And coming to terms with it, examining it, really looking at, does this serve me now? Many times what happens is we adopt what we feel is the right belief at a time, say in our 20s or our 30s. And then we get older and we realize that belief doesn't really serve me anymore. I'll give you a good example. Financially, when you're in college or in your 20s, you're building your financial base for the rest of your life. Now, in some cases, We will do things like work part-time jobs, work 3 jobs, work extra, because we may not have a family or other obligations, so we can devote a lot of time to our work. Now, that work may be primarily based on earning money. As we get older, we may find ourselves valuing other things like autonomy and freedom and creativity and latitude and control in our work. And so we have to let go of perhaps a belief that we have that I have to work this hard for this much money as we get older, because it's something that served us in our 20s, but not later in life. That's an example of where it's not all bad. It's just, again, it's called shadow work because these sometimes exist where we don't look at them all the time. And we may not even be aware of their influence on our mentality and our mindset. But it's a good time right now to examine our mindset, what goes into it, and if there are, because I'm sure there are some for all of us, and I've given you examples of mine in the main message in here, of some limiting beliefs that exist that maybe should be let go of. And it's amazing the liberation and energy that facing, admitting, and transcending and letting go of a limiting belief does for you. That's why I say that's like driving a high-performance vehicle and taking the parking brake off. Releasing these limiting beliefs can be the most powerful thing that you do in your work and in your life for that matter. So, have courage. Take these limiting beliefs on and understand how much power you have to change them and to let them go, and develop new, more empowering beliefs that will empower your work, empower your energy, your mindset, and your life. Thank you again for joining me for another cup. Limiting beliefs.